Hey guys! Welcome to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. All the details are in our video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and share our video before continuing. Thank you so much. The entertainment world is buzzing once again, and this time the tremor began with a simple live stream that took an unexpected turn. Barış Arduç went live on his social media, casually opening the door to his evening, planning nothing more than an easy conversation with followers. He was relaxed, answering questions about new scripts he'd been reading, sharing how early call times had shifted his routine, and joking about how he'd finally learned to make a decent Turkish coffee between takes. He looked calm, grounded, charming, everything his audience adores him for. As the comments scrolled faster, Barış paused to read a question about potential co-stars. He smiled, deflected politely, and moved on to talk about how he chooses roles. Then, without warning, a voice slipped in from the background, soft, familiar, unmistakably warm. In one breathy syllable, it sounded like a shy hello. Viewers froze. Fingers stopped mid-typing. Because for those who know that voice, it wasn't just any greeting. It sounded like Elçin Sangu. The chat exploded. Fans clipped the moment instantly and posted it everywhere. Did Elçin just say hello in Barış's house? Was she nearby? Did she answer a question directed at him? The speculation spiraled in seconds. Some thought the timing was too perfect to be accidental. Others insisted it was a coincidence, a random guest, a TV in another room. But the tone, that tone, light, careful, slightly amused, felt too familiar, and the internet knows the pair's chemistry by heart. For a heartbeat, Barış's expression changed. It wasn't dramatic, he's too composed for that, but a brief flicker crossed his face before he collected himself. He chuckled, the easy kind, and reached for a glass of water as if to buy a second. He thanked the viewers for the flood of questions and, with that signature mix of politeness and charm, continued speaking about craft, about pacing in long runs, about how the camera catches truths no one expects. Social media seized on that fleeting moment. Comments rolled in, look at his smile, listen to his tone, there's a glance to the side, he heard it too. Meanwhile, silence from Elçin Sangu. No posts. No story, no tweet, no quick denial. Just a stillness that felt louder than any statement. And that silence fed the rumor mill. People dug up old interviews about mutual respect, remembered anecdotes from sets, rewatched clips of them joking between scenes, pieced together the timeline of where each had been the past few days. Theories multiplied. Were they rehearsing? Were they catching up? Or was it simply that the walls in the place were thin and a neighbor greeted someone in a hallway? Every possibility inflamed the conversation. Every second of that live stream became evidence for someone's favorite theory. It's not that Barış did anything out of character. He kept the stream moving, highlighting upcoming scripts fans kept asking about, hinting at new territory he wants to explore, edgier roles, more intimate stories, maybe something with smaller crews and riskier pacing. He smiled at the joke comments, teased fans back when they demanded a reveal, and never once gave away more than he intended. But the aura had shifted. The glow around the stream was no longer the typical Q&A. It became something else, a moment that refused to end when the broadcast did. Within minutes, short clips and screen grabs went viral. Blogs recapped the incident, accounts labeled it the hello. The phrase stuck. The clip was replayed with headphones, slowed down, amplified, accompanied by captions that claimed you could hear a whisper of laughter. Others countered that it was background noise, a neighbor calling to a delivery person, or a notification sound that just happened to mimic a voice. But those who followed the pair for years heard what they heard and wouldn't let it go. The possibility alone was enough to make it the headline of the evening. What people reacted to wasn't only the voice. It was how tender the moment felt, how unprepared it seemed. Barış didn't stage it, and if the voice was indeed Elçin's, it slipped through the edges of his carefully composed routine, like a secret that didn't mean to escape but did, shyly, and just long enough for millions to notice. That vulnerability is what set timelines ablaze. Fans remembered how naturally they fall into rhythm whenever they share a scene, how their glances carry a story all their own. The internet thrives on echoes like that, and it found one. Then the questions began to take a new shape. Was this a sign of a reunion, personal or professional? Could they be reading lines together? Was a new project hiding in plain sight? Observers pointed out that his smile broadened when he talked about collaboration that pushes him, about reconnecting with a creative partner who knows his pace better than anyone. Nothing was explicit. Everything was suggestive. And the charm was in that uncertainty. Barış has always known how to stay gracious under a spotlight. That night, he modeled it again. He addressed a viewer's question about working with past co-stars, saying he values trust and timing, and he emphasized that chemistry isn't something you can fabricate. He praised colleagues broadly, avoided specifics, and thanked fans for caring about the work. But while he spoke, the chat kept chewing on that singular moment, looping it, magnifying it, placing it under the microscope of public fascination. Across timelines, people chose sides. Some argued the two had found their way back to a private closeness that powered some of their best on-screen moments. Others rolled their eyes at the frenzy, insisting that life is messier, simpler, and that not every sound is a clue. A smaller camp proposed a third option. That the voice in the room belonged to an upcoming project's table read, that the pair had silently agreed to let the whisper of possibility do the marketing for them. It was a romantic theory because it put story first, always the most forgiving lens. Amid this flurry, press accounts reached out for comment from both sides. The answers came in the form of silence. No denials. No confirmations. No coy winks or cheeky emojis. Just absence. And with absence came more attention. Even the restraint felt like part of the performance, though in truth it was likely the simplest choice. Say nothing, keep your day your own, let people talk themselves breathless. By the next morning, the clip had traveled as far as clips can travel. Digital sleuths mapped the room from the edges of the frame, identified a shadow as a plant, and a light reflection as proof of movement that may or may not have been a figure passing out of sight. Fans posted side-by-side comparisons of laughter. The way a breath curves at the end of a sentence, the way warmth sits inside a greeting when you're addressing someone you know well. None of it was conclusive, but all of it was captivating. There was another detail that kept people replaying the livestream. When the voice appeared, Barış was answering a question about patience, a topic he approached quietly, saying patience can be an actor's closest companion. The timing made the moment feel almost scripted, as if an unseen director cued a line that made the scene richer. That juxtaposition is what stuck. The act of talking about patience while listeners clung to an unexpected sound layered the experience with irony, a call for steady hearts in the middle of a heartbeat that raced. For those convinced the voice belonged to Elçin, the implications were thrilling. If they were together in the same space, what did it mean? A reunion? A reading? A test? Anyone who has watched them share a screen knows how easily they build a scaffold of trust and humor, how quickly a glance turns into a dance. It doesn't take much to imagine them revisiting that rhythm in private, playfully, to see if it still fits. And because the world loves a full circle, the possibility felt like a wish peeking out from behind a curtain. Still, others insisted the simplest answer was the right one. Barış lives a life full of colleagues, friends, family, and the workers who keep production schedules spinning. Voices weave through such days, walls are porous. Why presume something grand from a single syllable? That argument had logic on its side, but logic is rarely what governs a fan's heart. The emotional memory of their scenes together is strong enough to make even small sounds into chorus lines. As the hours passed, attention shifted from outrage to curiosity to a kind of soft hope that doesn't require proof. People began reimagining the near future, an event where they appear on the same carpet, a new series quietly announced, a photo of a script placed just so on a table, tagged with nothing but a date. The internet's favorite kind of mystery is the kind that stays open-ended, and this one offered no closure, only a thrill. What's undeniable is how quickly a casual live stream turned into a cultural checkpoint. Even those who hadn't watched it live felt as if they had, because the moment was retold so often that it became communal. The story entered that space where gossip turns into folklore, where a small incident is retraced until it feels like destiny making a cameo. Of course, all stories need caretakers, and for now the caretakers are the fans who have carried this pairing in their hearts for years. They know the tempo of a smile, the meaning of a breath, the way a pause hides 1,000 possibilities. They kept their notifications on, waiting for either of them to post anything at all, a lyric, a hallway, a lamp, anything that might extend or extinguish the spark. Late that evening, Barış posted a photo, a script on a coffee table, pages turned down at the corner, a pen resting across the margins. No tags. No names. Just a quiet image and a caption about getting lost in story. The comments section erupted, and while skeptics argued that it could be any script, believers took it as a nod, a promise, or a tease. The discussion intensified, drawing more eyes to the original live stream and piling more layers onto the legend of the hello. Through it all, Elçin remained silent, which only expanded the frame around her. In place of words, fans supplied memories, funny interview moments, old behind-the-scenes clips, whispered compliments swapped in between takes. Those memories became data points in a narrative that might exist only in the space between what is seen and what is felt. And that space is where the best stories often live. Industry insiders whispered about a potential collaboration, nothing official, just murmurs that schedules had aligned for a brief window. Maybe a limited project, maybe a special, maybe a late-night experiment that needed two people who already speak the same artistic language. The rumor had just enough plausibility to grow roots, just enough romance to bloom. As for the livestream itself, it is now a relic, preserved by the internet in countless copies. People continue to study it like a short film. The lighting, the framing, the pauses, the arc. Barış's composure is part of the allure. He keeps the atmosphere light, he refuses to capitalize on the frenzy, and by resisting the urge to explain, he leaves room for audience participation. It's a calculated kindness, a way of protecting his life while respecting the attention that anchors his work. By now, even those with no stake in the pairing can admit that a single moment reshaped the conversation around both of them. The possibility of reunion, whether on a set or beyond it, reminded people why they fell in love with their synergy in the first place. The mystery added fuel. And the lack of a definitive answer preserved the delicate balance that keeps viewers coming back for more. Will there be a statement? Maybe. Will there be a project? It's possible. Will there be another spontaneous slip of a voice at the edge of a frame? Only time knows. For now, the night belongs to a half-heard greeting and a soft smile that followed, to a little uncertainty that turned into an enormous, shared experience. The internet lives on those, our hearts do too. And so the story continues, not in headlines or denials, but in the electric hush of waiting. Any post from either of them could reset the day. Any photograph could stir the waters again. Any small sound from a quiet room could become the next chapter in an already beloved tale. If this was meant to be nothing, it has already become something, a reminder that sometimes the tiniest points of light are the ones we navigate by. Tonight, somewhere, there is a table with scripts, a phone on silent, and two artists who understand the magic of timing. Whether or not the voice was hers, whether or not the smile was for her, whether or not anything is brewing beyond curiosity, the moment is real because it was shared, and once something is shared, it belongs to everyone who felt it. That's the truth at the heart of entertainment. Stories aren't only told, they are made in the space between a hello and a response. If it was Elçin, then perhaps the greeting was no more than a friendly check-in, a simple word from a familiar voice in a familiar place. If it wasn't, then the world's most determined audience collectively dreamed the same beautiful dream at the same time. Either way, the result is identical: excitement, anticipation, and a renewed appreciation for what these two can spark without even trying. We will be watching closely, as always. If you've made it this far, you already know the rhythm. Stay tuned for the next breadcrumb, the next whisper, the next flash of possibility. Because this single live stream, planned as a low-key chat, has passed into memory as one of those unexpected, dazzling detours that only happen when real life crashes gently into legend. Every repost, every frame, every comment is a vote for more. And until something new happens, the echo of that soft greeting will keep the conversation alive. This brings us to the end of our video. If you enjoyed our video, please subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets and share it. Goodbye.